Yeah, I mean, well, we don't start recording until fucking we want to. We're not really well thought out here, but yeah, welcome Bobby Heckman. And
What's happening?
we get into what you're doing, but yeah, me and Langan started talking about Alien because he watched Romulus, which I didn't see yet. So let's not talk about. Okay, yeah.
I loved
Uh,
it.
so but I did like a rewatch. You know, to me, like the classic stuff is one, two, and three. Resurrection is whatever. And I never watched Alien versus Predator, and
Mhm.
I forgot who was talking about it, but I just like recently was like, you know what? This movie came out a couple of years ago. Let me watch it. And then I looked and it said 2004, and I was like, oh my God. I'm
Two
like,
decades ago.
this movie came out 20 years ago and never once did it occur because it just seemed like such a, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
It
know.
was
Just
that thing I posted about the timeline, and we were talking about how
Yeah.
that came. Alien vs Predator, I guess, is the earliest
Yes. The
in the
earliest.
canon
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah. That
takes
they
place.
consider Alien versus Predator like a separate timeline, like that just because it doesn't jive with all the Alien movies and stuff like that. But the
Um,
first two, like in the timeline with the thing that Langan posted, it had Alien versus Predator and then Alien versus Predator Requiem is the
right.
first two,
Right.
right? And I watched Alien versus Predator, which I gotta say it was pretty like entertaining. I
I
liked it.
I really enjoy it. Sorry, my cat's gonna be annoying.
Right? Wasn't that like I had
I
no.
loved it, and there was people that were like, because it's the only like PG-13 out of all the Predator and Alien movies. It's like, well, you think about this. I mean, there was still like people getting killed here and there.
I would not have guessed PG-13.
Yeah, exactly. You can't tell that it's PG-13 because what do the aliens have? Yellow acid blood, and predators have green blood getting splashed all over the place. So it's like they're not going to consider that like gore, like
Mm.
like it. So it's like, but it felt like a regular alien predator fun romp. I don't know, and I like the characters. I don't understand the hate towards it, but
I missed the hate. I just ignored it. Like it wasn't. And like
yeah,
2000, like in 2004, I was just like, oh, Alien versus Predator. I'm like, okay, maybe I was so like just annoyed by Freddy versus Jason that
I was
I.
gonna say that's how I feel about those movies. Like they're kind of like outside of canon. Like I always felt that Freddy vs. Jason was too. Like just its own separate fucking thing
Anthony.
that exists. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's just, and some people really seem to like it, I guess, and that's fine. Good for you, I guess. But I think really, yeah, we probably got burned on Freddy vs. Jason, and for me personally, I was just like, I'm like, oh, I don't really care, and I'll go.
That Freddy vs. Jason promo thing you posted the other day. I had never seen that with the boxing match kind of
Yeah,
fucking thing. That
yeah,
shit was ridiculous. I
that was,
loved it.
yeah, 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 yeah,
But holy shit, man.
yeah,
Oh, the when the weigh-in thing
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
at the in Vegas or something.
yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, they really went for it, and then they absorbed those like fake, like like what like Kevin Smith characters in the movie. Oh, it was just so like
Mhm.
I got to rewatch it because it's been a while, but
That
it
Destiny's Child chick, whatever her name is,
uh, uh, uh,
awful.
Kelly
I have fun with Freddy
Rowland.
versus Jason. I don't think it's great, but like I mean it was hard enough trying to get those two characters in the same world. Like that I kind of like I guess I kind of bought into it. I'm like, all right, Jason's being tricked by Freddy to go kill for him, and
I get yeah
get like I'm like it feels like it could be the only. I mean, I know there was a million scripts written in the last 20 years before that, but it seemed like it's the only way to make that movie.
Hmm.
Make a plot that kind of seemed like
I think that plot was pretty
work.
well done. I just feel like the director just like didn't really get like what was going on. And it's funny, like we're older guys now watching these horror movies and the stuff that we technically love, like I was posting about Night of the Creeps, with the anniversary 30 years ago.
Yeah.
38 years ago. And as I'm writing it, I'm like, this is one of the greatest movies ever made. But I'm thinking like maybe I only think that. You know what I mean? Like
No.
there's like a handful of us, but I'm saying like some people will be like, that's not The Godfather or like whatever or Jaws, you know? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I get that part of it, but I could watch this movie every day. I could come home every day and it could be on, and I would be like, this is still the great. Like I probably watch it once a year.
I definitely watch. I think I watch it more than once a year. I mean, I love it, and and anytime I hang out with Jill Whitlow or the other night of the Creeps people, and there's a screening, I have no problem sitting through that movie like over and over again. I know it by heart. I've always loved it since I was like 11 years old. I would get my friends to watch it, and I'm like, you gotta check out this movie, and it's just campy, fun, sci-fi horror comedy.
yeah.
It's everything. It's everything movie.
Everything landed on it. But like my point, what I was trying to make was like sometimes, we talk about like a movie being good or bad, and like
Right,
the stuff like I've seen The Mutilator 100 times, and I saw The Witch once, and I think The Witch was terrible, I could
right.
watch The Mutilator over and over again. So it's funny when you think of like,
Which is a better looking made movie, but you
yeah.
have more fun watching The Mutilator.
Oh,
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So like when you're older, you like look at these movies and like I said, we were talking about Freddy versus Jason. I'm thinking like it's a terrible movie, and I'm like, yeah, I guess the concept is just really stupid, and that's why it's terrible. So it's like it's funny when you grade certain things. Like I look back and watch like any of those older movies. I'm like, yeah, this was great, but like was it like in comparison to like what I think would be great now? You know?
right.
Mm. Right.
My biggest issue with Freddy versus Jason is that it came out like a year too early. And what I mean by that is I look at 1996 to 2003 as like the Scream era type movie where like nothing's that serious. Things are very like self-aware and like goofy, and like they're making jokes while they're running away from the killer, and it's like that style. And I feel like if it came out in 2004 or 2005, a year later, after the Texas Chainsaw remake, after Saw, after Wrong Turn, like it would have been like handled as a more
Mm.
serious movie, and maybe it would have been, I don't know, a little bit more
Yeah, you're
horror
right. It,
than
it
That's
horror
well, good
comedy.
point, man.
Good
Yeah,
point. Good point on that because there was that shift and
2004, it just went serious horror, and I was like, whoa, okay, we're in this era now. All right,
but I mean, long time coming because you're right. Like Scream, amazing. Like Scream really did a great job, but Scream was not like like you said, there was a lot of humor to it, a lot of like self-awareness stuff, and it's like okay, like because we grew up, the '80s and most of the '90s were gone, and now
right,
it's like okay, like now I'm just talking my way out of this scene like it's a dream or something, and
right.
there was charm to it, but boy, did that gum flavor wear out super fucking quick, but it stayed
It
around for a
wore
while.
out quickly for me because I was just, it came to a point where I just kept rolling my eyes at the horror movies that were coming out. Like,
There really was
there were
nothing.
ones that I loved, like things like Jeepers Creepers and stuff like that are kind of sprinkled in it. Final Destination, but
Love
like,
Final Destination.
yeah, I mean, it's such a blast. But like, but when they're like, when it's so oddly campy and they're cracking jokes, and
Mm.
like,
Yeah, like really over the top, and that's why that era, if I look back, I mean obviously I was like super drug addicted and out of jail and all that other stuff,
oh
so
no.
probably
All right,
pro
let's talk about this for the next hour. What?
yeah, I mean the '90s were wild for me for sure. So like I probably just I remember not liking a lot of that stuff, and then as time went on, like I didn't see like Jeepers Creepers till later because everything I saw with like teenagers or like younger people, I'm like, I
Right,
don't give a fuck. I'll
Hmm.
watch something else. Final Destination, the same thing. I ignored all of it because I'm like, oh, this is like lame. Like I don't like any of this. And then one day, I watched the opening scene to Final Destination 2 randomly
oh,
at the
oh my
Velvet
god.
at the Velvet Lounge I think I mentioned this before. At the Velvet Lounge, we were at like a Halloween hang, and there was, like I guess the DJ was like spinning music, and he had death scenes behind him, and then that death scene, that opening scene happened, and I was like, "Yo, what is this?" And they were like, "Final Destination 2," and I was like, "How is that possible? How's that
It is
possible?"
it is a fucking terrifying scene. Like, because anybody can relate to that highway like accident. Like it's just like, and just it's a massacre, and
And
it's probably the most brutal premonition scene out of all those movies.
out of all of them,
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
think so. And really like to live on in pop culture, because anytime someone posts that log, truck going through the highway, so
Mhm.
many people are like, "Oh, Final Destination 2." It's like
Yeah.
it's turned into
It-
like this like pop culture like unity thing that you like. You're like, "Oh yeah, the
It's
log
one of
through."
those franchises too, in my opinion, like the second one's the best one. The
Yeah,
sequel outdid it. You know what I mean?
I
I
think so
really
too.
like no, the first one still sticks with me as my favorite, but the second one had like the best deaths in it and creative deaths, and
Hmm.
but the fifth one I thought was really awesome what they did there, because
Oh yeah, yeah, I thought so
what
too. Yeah,
like, and I mean, I don't want to spoil it if nobody's seen
yeah.
Final Destination 5 by now, but like how it kind of circled back to the first one. And it was weird because I was watching it in the theater and there was something off about the movie, or something like um I don't know, like something about the movie felt like it didn't take place in the right year or time.
Nailed
I don't
it.
know. Like I wasn't really that much paying attention to the cars driving around, but they were all like pre 2000 cars. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that until the very end. I was just like, "Oh shit, this
yeah.
takes place in this like in
Yeah,
2000 when the first Final Destination takes place."
that
And
was
and
wild.
Something just
and
off. Like, and I
and
was just like, "This is so weird."
and creative stuff like that is awesome, right? So like
Yeah,
that's what
when
I
they're
love
not hitting
about
you in the
Saw.
face with it,
Yeah,
it
well,
was very subtle.
that's what I love about Saw. Like the newer one, it's like, oh wait, so you could have this timeline and then make these sequels and like put them in between the other numbers, and you're like, whoa. Like it just didn't really occur to you that it couldn't, like, that it could happen like that. When they pull it off, you're like, okay, so this happened in
I
between one and two.
I love stuff like that, and this movie
Oh,
I'm working on will play with that idea
all
a
right.
little
Well,
bit.
let's not give that away. But
No,
yeah,
that's definitely not
yeah, exclusive
a
plot
spoiler.
reveal.
Yeah,
I remember you said if you had hit 100,000 views, you're gonna do the sequel. I think it's at like 97 right now.
I know it's funny. Like I just talked to Sean King and James Taffarelli about this last night, because I saw that the views had hit 97 something, and I was like sitting there doing the math. If we get a few hundred views a day, which is the average, I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna probably hit 100,000 views exactly the day the campaign launches,
Amazing.
September 13th. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna do it anyway, you know. So like,
Yeah. No, it's so cool because you said it at like probably 5,000, and I was like, all right, 95 to go.
yeah, yeah.
Fucking like, that's pretty cool, So yeah, to like refresh everyone, you made a fan film for I guess Friday the 13th, like that lore. You pulled in like the Jarvis family and all that other stuff, which out of everyone that you could pick from, I think that's the I guess the arc that has the most meat on it. So the way
Right.
you did it, so just give everyone like a rundown if they're listening to you for the first time as to like what the first one was about.
Ugh, I thought we were past that. I never
Mm,
wanted to talk about the first one again.
let's do it.
All right. Oh, the first one's about this kid, Robbie, who is the son of a former Jason victim survivor. Um, so he feels very sheltered in his life. He's in his like mid 20s, and his mom is super overprotective and smothering him because she's because of what happened to her and her trauma. Um, so she's very overprotective over him and doesn't want him to like be hurt out there in our wonderful world, you know. uh So he decides he's had enough. He's been seeing a therapist and telling her about it. And he kind of makes the choice to go back to the place where his mother was traumatized by Jason Voorhees and everything. So he wants to go to Camp Crystal Lake, which has been at peace for years and everything. And he wants to prove to his parents that Jason is not a threat anymore, that can we all just move on with our lives? He's kind of doing it in like a little bit of a selfish, immature, naive way.
Sure.
Um, so excuse the banging that's going on. I don't know if you could hear it on your end, but
That's
I
fine.
hear it.
they're working on the apartment below me and they're
I
banging
thought
away.
I thought there was like you're talking about banging, like I thought it was like a porn
No,
set
no, no,
downstairs.
no.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Like, all right, some action is going on.
Excuse the moaning downstairs. They're filming
Yes.
a
Excuse the cheeks clapping
Yeah.
downstairs.
Um, so he ventures off the Crystal Lake area and kind of wants to take pictures and be show his mom that like, hey, the world, let me go, let me grow up, and not be so sheltered and
So
everything.
basically, he's not a pussy, is what you're saying, which is
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
exactly.
so we
So
celebrate that on this
yeah.
show. I actually want to break it to you. I think Langan accounts for 80,000 of those views. So
Who?
That's
Him?
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey,
excellent. Thank you. I
uh,
really super appreciate that.
so once I
And then
told,
there's like a B story where like a couple is kind of like
yeah,
discovering, and they, like people are so obsessed with true crime nowadays and stuff. I thought it'd be funny if there was this couple that were kind of like, played by Joe Winchell and Deanna Naja.
they were great.
Yeah, I absolutely love their characters. And it was funny to anytime there was a screening of the movie when Deanna gets killed. Um, I kind of heard people like go, "Oh no!" Like they kind of gasp because I guess they liked her character and like, yeah, I'm setting them up to like, oh, we're going to be moving in together. They're going to start a life, and just tried to make them kind of likable couple,
Yeah.
um, as opposed to a group of assholes that we usually get in horror movies. That we want to see die right away.
Sometimes that happens. It's like
Sometimes,
when you think of like right, like the cast, like once Friday the 13th hit number 4, maybe there was
yeah,
more substance to like those. So I every summer I kind of try to watch as many of them as I can just randomly, and I think HBO put them up there.
yeah,
I always skip one. I'm kind of over one.
that's fine. I get it. I mean, I get it. I mean, growing up, I didn't care for one very much either. I mean, first off, there was no Jason, and it's kind of slow paced, and um, I don't know. I think nostalgia always has me go back to it, though. Like, there's something about the feel of that first movie, um,
Great twist. I mean,
the
I like
fall look of it.
I love the
Sure.
reveal. Like it's great, and
Oh, Chris
I
is
think
amazing.
and I think as time went on, I replaced it with Sleepaway Camp 1.
Actually, I have a friend,
Yeah.
Chris Seaver. He does a lot of like horror comedies. He's
I
been
love his TV show.
Yes, okay. Oh, you watch Wellsville Nights?
No, I was talking about
Oh, oh,
Growing Pains.
yes, Growing Pains. Um, that takes place in Huntington, New York.
Listen, if anyone would have guessed that, I thought you would have gotten it. I would have guessed
No,
it.
no,
Shout out to
there's no
bonus the
Chris. There's
bomb.
Mike Seaver.
Yeah, no, but I think
Uh,
wasn't his mom's name Chris or something?
no, I think the daughter's name was
Oh, Chrissy Seaver. Yeah, yeah.
Chrissy Seaver.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he always, when he watches a Friday 13th marathon, he watches The Burning first.
Mm,
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
great
and then
movie.
watches 2, 3, 4, 5, on.
Yeah, I mean,
But The
for sure.
Burning is like, it's got Savini effects. It's a great movie. I mean, it's definitely a more exciting movie than the first Friday 13th.
I tried to like crowbar in some like summer horror this year. So I did. You know what I
One
really
Crazy Summer.
I did. You know what?
Ah,
Yo, it's
what a
so
good one.
funny. Like I gotta wait till like my girlfriend, goes to bed because she doesn't like. She'll watch One Crazy
It
Summer.
doesn't
Yes,
like hilarious movies.
she's 8 years younger, and whenever she sees an eight next to the year that it came out,
Oh boy.
she's like, because yesterday she was on the phone with her cousin, and I start watching Waxwork, right? And
Ah, another classic.
I always try to get her to watch it, and she's like, I'm not watching a movie from 1988. I'm like, but it's so good. So
Well,
I
that's
have
your
to
answer sometimes to what holds up. Like when you give it to somebody else who doesn't have the nostalgia factor tied in.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to change your opinion of it or whatever, but curious sometimes to say like a good movie is a good
She
movie like
doesn't even
decades
hit
later.
play though. She doesn't even
Oh
like
my
so
God, it
so
wasn't
Yeah.
even
what
a
what I
chance.
do, this is what I do. I already have it playing by the time she gets off the phone. So we're
Uh,
about 20 minutes in where it kicks in and like, what's the kid from
Zach Galligan.
no, the other one, the kid from Return of the Living Dead 2, where he like gets thrown in with John Reese
Oh,
Davies, like the werewolf scene.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, then she sits down and she starts watching. She's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "I'm not telling you." And
yeah.
then we start talking. Then they get to like the vampire scene, and Anthony Hickox is one of the guys. He's one of the characters, the director of the movie, which we had on.
Right. Oh my God. Yes, that was that
That was a lost
review that
episode.
got deleted
Yeah.
still
or something.
hurts.
Well, it didn't get deleted; it
Uh,
just didn't get recorded.
oh,
Still hurts.
he
We
was.
had a lovely
God
conversation
damn
just
it.
for us.
We had a great conversation. He was living in Romania right before Putin invaded, right? Because he was nervous. He was like, "Oh, he's like, I don't know what's going on, blah blah
Yeah.
blah." And we were like, "Yeah, whatever. He's not going to do that anything. What do we know?" And he's telling us all these great stories for like an hour. And then I realized I never recorded it because, like, once you stop or X out, the thing starts. You see like the files, being saved. And I was like, "Oh my God." And then he ends up dying like a year later. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
It probably would have been the last interview.
Yeah.
You know.
Man.
Yeah. Oh my God. That. Ugh. I'm sorry
So
about that.
no, no, yeah. So like
The,
This is
but
recording, right?
yeah,
oops.
I always look now. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't miss any of this gold. So yeah, she was in and she was into it. And but I think that's what it is. I need to really just start it where she just sits down and she's like, like I gotta
Mhm.
trim like the first one because she's like, what the fuck is this? Because the movie is so crazy.
It is. It's bonkers. I absolutely love the movie.
I love it, and I love the second one. It's so good. And
Yeah.
but she was like, why are there zombies now? And I'm like, so I had to explain everything to it. But
Yeah. That ending is fucking nuts. I love it.
yeah, so like I have to watch certain things at night, and I put on, certain like the Prowler, like I did a bunch of stuff, like from
Prowler,
11.
I could see her not being into it. For me, it's like it's an extremely slow burn, that movie.
Mm.
uh,
You
but
Good
know.
kills.
when it really kicks in, it's great. I think
Mm.
but yeah, it just depends. She likes there's always like we have
She
like that
likes The
event.
Princess Bride. She likes
Nah, she likes
Clueless,
she like she oh, well we all love Clueless. No,
Yeah.
she likes brutal shit. She just likes she's like a child of like what is that the movies we were just talking about uh
Scream.
no, the other one though. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like that, you
All
know what I
right.
Right.
mean?
Okay.
And I brought her to some pure violence, like she
Mhm.
loves, we watch Martyrs and she wanted to watch Saw and like shit like that. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, to continue going down with what did you think of A Violent Nature, which for
I was
me,
gonna ask the same thing. Yep.
yeah, it's literally you watched it, right, Bobby?
Yes, I did.
I mean, it's Friday the 13th, basically.
Yeah, it basically is. And it's so funny like that so much of it is during the day. And I was just like, oh my God, my whole short film took place during the day and almost had the same feel in a couple of areas, except,
Oh,
they're like following the killer.
you're right. Yeah, yeah. I could see that.
Um,
You want
but
to say you influenced this movie? Is that what you
no,
want me to
God, no.
pull? You want me to pull that
No.
quote?
Lawsuit.
Yeah. I wrote this movie.
I wrote the dialogue.
Yeah. Um, but I really enjoyed it. My only issue with it is, yeah, just maybe like 15 minutes of walking could have been cut out. But I got what they were doing, and I really liked it. And it was kind of a movie where when it ended, I was like, "Huh, that's it." But then, like on the drive home,
Yeah, I
Mm,
loved
talking
it.
about it with a friend, I was
Yeah,
like,
100%.
it started like I started thinking about it a lot. It really stuck with me,
me
and
too. Yeah,
I was like, "Ooh, I love that ending now." Like
yeah.
where the girl like she gets away and then she's just looking out of the woods and you don't see anything but you're like kind of like looking in the trees and like
Hmm.
where'd he go, you know, like um I love that tension right
I
there.
love so
We
it.
all had the same exact kind of thing with that because I had the same feeling because I realized I was sitting with my son. I'm like, I like that movie. Then
Yeah.
I realized like later, I'm like, I think I love that movie actually. I'm gonna watch it again, you know. But
Yeah, I
I
and I
can't
think
wait
think
it's
for
a
it to.
question of dynamics with the kills. Like when those, yes, those walk scenes were very long, and you're hearing the twigs snap under their feet and stuff. But then when
Right.
the kill happened, it's almost like like a band like the Pixies or something. Dynamics, loud, soft, whatever. Maybe it hits even harder because of the
Right.
lulls.
I think if you want the prize of watching the action, you have to sit through that. I think that's that's what it is. Can't have any pudding if you don't have your meat type shit.
Right.
So and I think it hit Shutter the same day that your promo starts on September 13th
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
um
awesome. I'm a physical media guy, so I need my Blu-rays and 4Ks and
I could tell from back there.
yeah, you can see this. Um, so I'll never let go of physical media. So I'm waiting for that, Blu-ray release with the behind the scenes and, bloopers and commentaries and all that stuff. And I soak that stuff up. Speaking of physical media, can we get some Playing Dead on CDs or something?
No. No. Why?
I
For who?
don't download music. That's my issue.
For
Like,
who? For you? For one
just
person?
for me.
I don't know.
Just make a small print of like 100 and I'll buy 99 of them.
I don't know if you know how supply and demand works, but definitely we're not looking into losing money. Yeah, I mean, what do you mean you don't download music? So you don't
I
have
just don't
Spotify?
I have Pandora where I just kind of punch in my favorite bands and they like shuffle around and they play bands that sound like those bands. I got that while I'm
How
driving,
the
but
fuck do you listen to music? Do you
I got my stereo right here where I'm cleaning the house. I got a billion CDs right next to me.
Wow. That
If I love the band, I will get every uh album that they put out CDs. So
I mean, so for us, the way we look at it, because we live,
I'm still like living 3 decades ago, I guess, so
yeah, because like we're big music guys. Like
yeah.
we're big music guys. And I lived through the cassettes, I lived through the CDs. I loved it. It was great. My room looked exactly the way yours does.
Hmm.
And now you're basically giving someone $10 a month to basically stream everything from your phone. And it's the
Right.
greatest thing. It's just it's like basically looking at cable TV and being like, no, I don't want these cable channels. I'm just gonna stick with 2, 4, and 6, 2, 4, and whatever the fuck.
Right.
It just like time moves on, and bless your heart for wanting a CD, but yeah, we're never doing that.
No, and I get it. I get it. And yeah, I actually do have Spotify on my like an app on my phone and I haven't gone there yet. I just
Once you do, you're going to be fucking like you're just gonna be snorting lives of Spotify. It's just the convenience.
I
It's all about convenience. It's future. It just is what it is.
I know. And I
I
do
do understand though, but what you're saying though makes sense because like I still have a 1 terabyte hard drive with a million of MP3s of my favorite bands or whatever. Because I put all this time on these Spotify playlists. If Spotify goes out of business, like I lost like all my how I had my shit collected to listen to or something. Or if then I have to find another streaming service because they
right.
might not last forever. None of these things last forever. But the physical media. Like I actually just started getting into the 4K uh
Mhm.
game, and with just because streaming services, you always got to depend that they might have it, whatever. I want to watch certain. Now, I don't get everything on it, like the bangers, my all time favorites. I buy that, so I always have access to it
Yeah,
because
things like
eventually,
Creep.
I don't want commercials. I don't want trigger warnings in front of
Right.
Goodfellas if I watch it on HBO. I want it the way it is, you know.
Yeah, and I don't like, I'm not going to replace everything with 4K. Everything that just my favorites, things like Creepshow that you're
Yeah,
wearing there. I like, of
sure.
course, I'm going to get that in 4K, and when things stream online, they look great. But even when they say they're 4K, they're not truly 4K. They're not going to look like the actual disc as
Hmm.
the sharpness. But because it's compressed for streaming, so like it's not going to be complete. It looks good, but it looks the best on physical media. I feel the same way about CDs. Like I feel like CD is like the best you're going to hear it, and some music gets a little compressed when I hear.
There's somebody listening to this right now shitting on you for not
I'm
having a
sorry.
cassette. No, for not having a cassette player because CDs are too advanced.
I have a cassette player in this weird
Yeah,
multi
yeah, some
stereo system
this
thing
some
too.
I got
guy.
a reel to reel over here. Yeah.
Yeah, real to real.
They're like, fuck these guys and your fucking terabytes. Like,
I
no
you know
way.
what? I guess there's something nostalgic about when you get CDs and like you have the booklet and all the lyrics, and it's like you follow along
I
and you
loved
look
it.
at the
I loved it.
pictures, and like
I, I
I love all that stuff. Like,
I loved it and I lived it, and
oh yeah,
it's just
oh
like,
yeah.
I think I'm just over the nostalgia of it. I'm just
I
I
get that,
got
but
the new
also like
Avril. I got the new Avril CD. I get to look at hot pictures of her on the inside. So
you could do that on your phone, right?
yeah, I know
one
that.
thing too, though, as all horror lovers and stuff, and we have Shudder now and things like that, but there's a
Yeah,
bunch of obscure, beloved films that eventually Netflixes and shit like that, they're never gonna fucking ever carry that shit. And yeah, we have Tubi and stuff, but we have it now.
and they
So
could
who the
take it
fuck
away from
knows?
you. They could
So
take it
if
away
there's
from you at any point.
right, so like having those films, and speaking of, I mean, with a collection like that, and then we're about to go into, we celebrate our horror season September and October here at Red River.
First
And
week in
Do you
November.
have any
Yeah.
deep cuts back there? So a couple of films that you think are criminally underseen that maybe aren't up on streaming, or maybe
Yeah,
like
I
some,
was I was gonna do the same thing too. I was gonna have
yeah,
them fucking pick out, go behind, pick out a couple of things that you feel are very underrated in that collection that you want to talk about.
um, Waxwork.
mm,
Um,
good sequel too. I
I'm a
thought
huge fan of the old Hammer movies, like from the '60s and '70s, like Christopher Lee, Frankenstein, Dracula, Peter Cushing. I love those movies. Like it seems like as um Americans, we kind of just always talk about the Universal monsters, the old Dracula, Frankenstein. But like there was this whole period right after that ended, from the late '50s to the early '70s, of like these beautiful gothic colored Dracula, Frankenstein, you know, mummy movies and stuff like that that are awesome. But they're out of England. I love those movies.
the colors on those films, it must
Oh my
look great
god,
on a
it's the first
Blu-ray,
time there
man.
was like red gore in a movie, and like we don't,
Yeah.
as horror fans, we never talk about it. Like Curse of Frankenstein is the first time. It's the first horror movie in color. Like you punch it in on Google right now. It says and write first horror movie in color. Curse of Frankenstein pops up. So weird. Um, let's see.
Do 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 do
Yeah,
do
it's too difficult.
I put you on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I got everything in sections too, like John Carpenter, Romero, Argento. Uh,
what is the
Within the director, do you go chronological too? Once you separate the
yes,
director,
yeah,
do you
yeah.
start
So
with the
like
first film?
Romero, you
Okay.
start with Night of the Living Dead, and now they're all on Blu-ray and
Not
4K.
the amusement park?
I got
You don't
I got
start
that
with
in
that one?
there. I
Oof.
got that in there. And
but
the last movie to come out finally in Blu-ray was Bruiser, and I like Bruiser.
That was the one the Misfits were in, I think.
Yes, the Misfits.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The Misfits are in it. And the Misfits videos are in there that Romero directed.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I didn't even know that was a thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Michael
Uh,
Gray's Misfits.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
it's kind of a cool film.
All right. Okay, okay. I was like, wait, that doesn't even make sense
Settle
to me.
down.
But
Um,
I'm gonna say there was a movie like every now and then, like, like I could find anything, even, like YouTube has a lot of stuff you could rent, no problem. I'll drop three,
right.
$4. Very rare will I come across, like, I was looking for Masks the other day, the Cher movie. And
Right.
you can't find that. But then I dug through like the I think it's like the archives or something online, and they have the whole movie.
Internet Movie Archives.
Yeah, so like
It's all
it's
the
there. So yeah, so you
yeah.
basically dig through stuff. Only on rare occasions when I can't find something that I need my plug. I got a plug in Jersey to basically look for stuff for me on the internet. And
Mm.
I wanted to watch Nightmares from 1983.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
That
Ah,
got that.
shit.
Yeah.
that anthology, because as a kid I fucking like I loved Emilio Estevez, like I don't know if it was just like mentally in my brain as like a Hispanic dude. I'm like, oh, I just identified with Estevez. I'm like, that's my guy right there,
Playing video games. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 for sure. I was like, okay. I mean, I even watch Wisdom. How many people could talk about Wisdom?
I haven't seen that movie since I was young, and I would love to revisit that. I remember the ending being
Me
like,
too. Yeah,
"This is
yeah,
all a dream. What the fuck?
yeah, yeah,
What is going on?" Like, I want
yeah.
to rewatch it and just kind of take it in again. I'll tell you what, on streaming, what's really hard to find is Charles Bronson movies, and I got some Bronson movies here,
Ooh,
Oh,
like
what do you
you
got
know,
there? Oh, is that the
10 to
mechanic?
Midnight, which is basically a serial killer movie.
I think
So
that might be
great.
my favorite.
This movie is awesome. Mr. Majestic, his
Nice.
man and his watermelons. You can't. Yeah,
I just watched
but
Kinjite the other night.
yeah, that one's a good one too. But like, I have a whole
If you
like
want to
Charles
see him
Bronson
rape a
section.
guy in the ass with a dildo in the first
Yeah,
10 minutes.
yeah. Uh, but those movies are hard to find on streaming. I don't know why. Like,
Not
you
really.
go on Amazon, you got to
I
buy
I
them
just looked
for
it up.
renting.
They're on Tubi.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Tubi has been amazing because you could find
Mm.
almost, I don't want to say almost everything, but a
You
lot
could
Yeah.
on
find
Tubi.
like
The most
like
weirdest, rarest, obscure shit.
it really is pound for pound. If you want to watch like older shit, it's
Right.
the best streaming site without a doubt. Like you'll go
Love it.
through, and it's
You
every
can find
classic.
terrible shit like Snowboard Academy with Jim Varney and Corey Haim.
Wow.
Nice,
Now
son.
we're talking. Wow.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking trash.
I
Hey,
love the
what? Let me ask you one question. Me and Sam always talk. We always talk about the big four of horror, which we consider Halloween, Texas
You like
Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
okay
If you agree with that, or if you don't, what would you say are four franchises would be your next choice for the next four
for the next
that
four?
you like franchises you think that don't get enough shine that are consistent.
Uh, Definitely Child's Play.
Hmm.
Chucky for me has been, for me, one of the most consistent horror franchises going into the TV show, which just picks up where the last movie left off. I'm like, it's the most consistent franchise out there where they just keep referencing
I think
older movies.
Mancini
And
didn't Mancini do everything? Kind
yeah,
of, right?
that's
Yeah.
why, because
Yeah.
it's
That
the same
helps.
creator, writer for everything. It's like he's been there since the beginning, and kind of like you don't find that in any of the other franchises. Like even
Yeah.
like, Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven just did the first one, then he came back for the third, and then New Nightmare, and that's it. And then other people had their hands in the toy box. But I would say Chucky, Hellraiser.
Hmm.
I I'm a weird rare case where like I get a kick out of a lot of the standalone mindfuck sequels, like the Inferno and Hellseeker and Judgment.
Uh,
Yeah, like
I thought Judgment was great.
Yeah, I really did too.
Yeah,
And it was fine that it ended there. Like if that's it had
I
a
thought
really
that
cool
I,
ending where
yeah,
Pinhead
I
was breaking rules and then has to suffer for breaking those rules and becomes human again. Spoilers. But
I thought Judgment, like when I watched it, I was like, aside from a budgetary restriction that
which
it obvious,
they all have after four, right?
but I feel like this one really had it. I was like, this is actually pretty gross, and it had
That wasn't
like,
Fat Pinhead, right?
No, that
no,
was
no,
Revelations where
yeah,
Okay, 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 got you.
he had that
yeah,
he had a weird face that didn't quite and
Yeah,
I
it
just
looked,
watched them all again recently and
yeah,
I always suffer through Revelations and it's funny, it always happens the same way. The first 20 minutes, not even first 20 minutes, first 10 minutes, I'm always like, oh, maybe this will be good this time around. And then it just
I
yeah,
couldn't do that
down
one. I
quickly.
think like, yeah, it was like yeah, I tried
The
watching it.
ninth
yeah.
one.
I
It's
think it was
tough.
like 20 minutes, and it was like Mexico or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah,
two friends, they kill a
yeah,
hooker in Mexico.
yeah. I was just like, I don't know. I think I'm good on this one.
Yeah, and it's the only one really that I don't like.
Right.
I like or love all the other movies, the 10 other
Nice.
movies, including the the reboot one, which just felt like another Hellraiser movie because it didn't resemble the original story or first one at all. So I was just like, oh, this is just another Hellraiser like movie.
I hated the CGI. Like it was
Mhm.
just so, and but I love the
Yeah, I can see.
director. I think Dave Bruckner, like I think he was attached to Southbound, maybe, and
Yeah, yeah.
he did the Night House, which I thought the Night House was so good.
Yeah,
Like
I like
that was
that
a
too.
I didn't see
really
that one.
oh my God, that's a really good, like pretty well written fucking movie. Big fan of that one. So
Okay,
anyway,
so I'll say Chucky, Pinhead, or if
We
you want
got you.
to be Cenobites, but Pinhead is the face of it.
Hmm.
Norman Bates.
Okay, good.
good
I
one.
love me some Norman Bates. So and
I hear the banging.
yeah, you hear the banging, you hear the moaning. I'm trying to think of like a fourth one. I mean, I guess it would be, even though I'm not a fan of Scream, I guess it would have to be Ghostface. Like, I'm not a fan of that franchise, but it
You
would
don't
make
even like the first
sense.
one?
I think it's okay. I remember the last time I watched them. Well, first off, I haven't seen all of them. I've only seen up to four.
I think the
Um,
last two are amazing.
that's what I heard. But I think the first one is okay. But I remember liking the second one a little bit more.
Great action horror.
Hmm.
And I like the kind of reveals in the second one too. And I absolutely just didn't like the third one.
Worst
Yeah.
one out of the six, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it drives me nuts when there was a moment in it where when I was married, and my wife was sleeping, and I'm watching Scream 3, and there was a moment because I'm just like, you know what, I need to let me see what the big deal is. So I'm watching Scream 3, and because I heard Scream 3 was the worst, I'm like, oh, this will probably be my favorite one. Watch. So I'm watching Scream 3, and there was a moment where Sydney is stepping over the killer, and it's like halfway through the movie. I'm just like, take off his fucking mask and see who the killer is. What, like what? What? It's like so. I was like, you got to be kidding. So I just yelled, you got to be kidding me. I was so pissed off. And she's like, what? I'm like, nah, nothing. This movie's stupid. So I just got like frustrated. I apologize to all the people that love Scream, grew up with Scream. Like I'm just not it.
I could take it or leave it too, to be honest with you. But
I'm
I
just I'm not. But I will put. I respect you guys enough, the Scream fans, to put it up there as a top four of
he's
the after the first four.
right.
Okay,
I
I'll throw that because that image of I'll put Screamwalkers up there. About Screamwalkers.
Oh yeah, I got the DVD
Sean
from
Connery.
Sean.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll put the cat face copycat
I
killer.
love that. All right, yeah, so like, wrapping up, let's get into the sequel here. I know that
Yes.
obviously we can't really talk too much about it, so
We could talk as much about it as you want. There were just some reveals and spoilers I will not talk about.
yeah, yeah, like I don't really want to. Yeah, I don't want to. I want to watch it fresh and stuff. So, are we
Okay.
doing like a full length, like another 40 minutes, or like
It's going to be hopefully double the length.
Oh
So
wow,
it will be a feature length film.
that's crazy.
It's an anthology film, so it has to be a feature length movie because, if each segment is 15, 20 minutes long, then, it has to be 80 to 90 minutes at least. I don't want to go past 90 minutes because low budget movies, when they get to the 90-minute mark, is kind of like, depending on what it is, it's kind of like, all right, we need to just let's get the story out and end this thing.
Yeah, it's amazing for an anthology. Like you're going anthology for this.
Yeah, I know you guys love Creep Show. It's one of my top 20 movies of all time, and uh, I have always wanted a horror anthology movie. And this is going back maybe 20 years. I started writing an anthology horror film in the vein of Creep Show or Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, Body Bags, something like that. Um, and so I said, well, if I'm going to make a sequel to Victim No More, let's do a Friday 13th anthology because that hasn't been done. There's so many stories and things that you could tell coming out of the Friday 13th universe of characters and, timelines and places that you could play with out of the 12 movies. So I said, you know what? I gotta scratch my anthology itch. Like I gotta let me do this. And I kind of took two stories that I had written 20 years ago, or maybe even more, and kind of revamped them and kind of like brought them into the Friday 13th world. Uh, and it made those stories better. So, yeah, I just thought it would be fun to so it'll be a sequel to Victim No More. We get to see the aftermath of what happens. If you haven't seen Victim No More, it ends on kind of a cliffhanger, but kind of left to your imagination also. But we'll see the aftermath. Um,
Did you do the cliffhanger, just leaving yourself that room to continue?
no, not really. I kind of ended at the time. I thought it was going to be the one and only film that I ever did because I'm not looking to try to get into the industry or become a full-time filmmaker or anything like that. I did it for me because my passion for Friday 13th, and I had a lot of support and friends that are connected to Friday 13th, whether it's Amy Steele and Kimberly Beck or whatever. Um uh and just people that really wanted to help out. But at the time, honestly, I was when we were filming it, again, I thought it was going to be the one film I do and move on, and I would just try to do other things and just help friends with their projects.
How
But
did
at the
you?
time,
I was gonna say, how did you get Jill though involved, Whitlow?
I had been friends with Jill for since 2009 or 10. Met her at a convention, Monster Mania. We really hit it off, and we just kept in touch online. Um, and we just kind of became friends very quickly. And then she wanted me to represent her, and book her at conventions and stuff like that. So I did that for her and Kimberly Beck, who I kind of met the same way.
Mm.
And I'm super close to both of them. Same with Catherine Mary Stewart.
Did you ever, with Catherine Mary Stewart? I know that you guys are pretty tight.
Yeah.
Did you ever ask her what it was like to be in the Apple?
No, I don't think I've ever asked her what it was like to be in anything. I might ask her about certain actors that she worked with, and she'll give me an honest answer.
The Apple has to just be like the wildest story, but yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well,
No, I mean, you if you pull up any interview with her and she talks about the Apple and her that being her first movie when she was 19 years old and starring in it and everything, you could hear her talk about the entire experience. But it's funny when I would be hanging out with her at a convention while she's signing and stuff, and she's selling copies of the Blu-ray of the Apple.
no.
You know, and like I remember I did her a favor. I transferred all of her VHS to DVD. And these are like home movies and like TV shows that she was on in the 80s, and she just wanted to like have an archive of all this stuff on DVD. So I put all that stuff together. There was some really cool shit in there too, by the way.
I bet. I mean,
Like
she's been in
besides
almost
like
every.
Days of Our Lives episodes that she was on, there was like promoting her and Jonathan Silverman promoting Weekend at Bernie's on like the MTV, like
Movie awards?
no, not the movie
The beach
awards.
house.
Yeah, the like the beach house stuff where like
Yeah.
where they would hang out at the beach house and
Oh,
they go
okay.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
coming
Sure.
in at number 8 is whatever, and you see like a dead Bernie floating in the pool, and
Yeah.
so it's like, oh my God, I've never seen any of this stuff. This stuff is great. And there was like unaired pilots of like the Witches of Eastwick TV show that never aired.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So she's one of the witches, and I'm like, some really cool, awesome shit. So, but anyway, so I transferred all this stuff, and she's like, "Can I pay you? How do I, thank you so much for doing all this." And I saw the Apple and a couple of Blu-rays off her table. I'm like, I'll take this. I'll take this.
Yeah, yeah,
The,
yeah, yeah.
the Apple is not something I'm ever gonna pay for, so
No, yeah,
I might as
yeah,
well
Right.
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You want me to sign it?" I'm like, "You're my friend. I don't,
I can't believe it got a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I got that and Dudes on the same day.
Wow, Dudes
Dudes,
is rare
yeah, that
too.
was another one.
Yeah, Dudes
That's
is cool.
Penelope Spheris, right? Did that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a weird one.
Daniel
John
But
Roebuck.
Cryer.
Was that
Yeah.
Roebuck?
Roebuck and
yeah,
Cryer,
Daniel
right?
Roebuck.
Yo, so the funniest thing, right? I used to work in Quorum at a like TBI house, right, which is like traumatic brain injury, and they had two VHS cassettes there. That's how long ago it was, right? One
Right.
of them was Dead. One of them was Dead Alive, and the other one was a movie called Terror Eyes,
Okay.
starring Daniel Roebuck. And we never watched it. We just would laughed, and we maybe watched 10 minutes of it. It was
I remember
terrible.
I remember the poster. It was like a lightning strike going down the middle.
Yeah, 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 yep, yep,
Uh,
yep.
Yeah.
And we just like I didn't really ever put two and two together of his like filmography till later on. But yeah, like I just
River's Edge is the first time I noticed him.
Yeah, we
I
were just like,
remember.
oh, D Roebuck is what we called him because that's what it said on there.
He was also actually at that same convention, the where I got Dudes and everything. Daniel Roebuck came to that convention. I think he lives in New Jersey or something, but like he wasn't there signing. He was just there at like looking for cool monster shit
that's
like in the
cool.
vendor room.
It's
And
awesome.
he came in to say hi to Catherine, and we all took pictures and stuff like that. I was like,
That's
oh my God, Daniel Roebuck.
that's awesome. And he was in the Munsters, right? The
He was in the
Rob
Monsters.
Zombie.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So,
I have not watched that.
shout out to him. But yeah, anyway,
Hey,
we were,
shifting gears back into the Friday land. Do you
Yeah.
ever think the Friday the 13th series? You think we're ever going to see that?
Well, before
Or
I
do
answer
you-
that, let me just wrap up what
Oh,
I was
yeah.
saying.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm
Right.
sorry.
That
Yes.
so while we were filming The First Victim No More, my wife at the time and I were going through like separation and issues and stuff like that. So it wasn't the greatest experience making that movie. So after the divorce and everything, I was like, all right, well, I need to do this experience again with a clear head, 100% focus, and really see what I could do being at hopefully my full potential. So, and I always, I mean, I love Friday 13 so much. I have a trilogy in mind for this, for Victim No More. So I really want to like just, do these movies and ultimately move on to other things that are a lot more original. And I mean, who knows? I might do a romantic comedy after this, you know. But yeah, so I wanted to do the Friday the 13th anthology movie because I thought they would be fun to explore characters that we only briefly see in the first movie and go
Oh
back
yeah.
their past and
Hmm.
kind of see. You guys seen the trailer
Yeah, yeah.
for
Yeah.
part two?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so you saw the support group meeting and kind of like get into the experiences of those the Survivor Squad, the final girls and boys, you know.
Oh yeah, that's a cool
Yeah,
premise
and show that
intro.
not all of them had dealings with Jason, but like, but there'll be connections to Friday 13th.
Yeah,
So
so then
I thought it'd be fun to explore that.
that was the full circle, like what we were talking about, like like fucking with the timeline. So yeah, that's
Yes.
yeah, you could dip
Yeah.
in and out of there because there,
Hmm.
there are so many angles that you can go with it. So
Yeah,
it's
and there's so many characters in, all those movies that either you never see or hear from them again, and or what about this person's family or something? Where did they go to? What are they doing now? So
Violet's breakdancing partner, probably one.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
And I will try to get a couple of Friday 13th alumni, involved uh, with a couple of other fun cameos. I mean, Catherine and Jill will return for it. And you'll kind of understand that relationship a little bit more. That, but yeah, and then I'll
Right.
eventually, depending on the success of this and how it goes, a third and final chapter, uh, will be made, and it'll be just a really fun. I'm not sure it'll be as long as the second one, but it's going to be as long as it has to be to tell the story. But it's going to
So
be basically my Frankenstein telling of a Jason story. Um, because Frankenstein's my favorite old school monster, and Jason is obviously my favorite modern day kind of killer monster.
very cool. Just
and when will we be able to
yeah,
see? When is it going to drop? Like what date will people be able to see the full
we're in tune
film?
today. Everything that you say, I'm about to
Oh
say.
man.
Well, first is first. We got to raise the money to make the damn thing.
Hmm.
So September 13th, we launched the campaign.
Nice.
There'll be a lot of fun perks going from like $13 all the way to $2,000 or something, like different perks with, all the great merch, the t-shirts and beanies and Blu-rays and
Dinner with Bobby.
maybe props from the movie when we're done. Yes, that too. Um, but yeah, so we're going to launch the campaign. We're setting the campaign right now at $13,000. The reason why it's so low, because that's what the first movie was, and that was a short film, is so that because I know we can pass it, I know we can make more than 13,000. So that way the campaign can stay in demand, and we can go for those stretch goals, the 20,000 to 30,000, hopefully up to 50,000. 50,000 would be amazing. I can get
It's
I
election
get Sean
season.
King a crew, to work with. So
It's election season. Everyone's feeling generous.
yes, I
Yeah.
hope so. Please. Um, so we would shoot next year, 2025. In the springtime, we'll shoot half the film, and then the fall time, we'll shoot the rest of the film. Skipping summer all completely because shooting a movie in the summertime, especially a Friday the 13th movie, is a nightmare because it's gross, it's humid, it's 100 degrees.
Yeah.
People are wearing prosthetics and things, and it's just this is why they never shot an actual Friday the 13th movie during the summer. I found out the hard way that they always shot those movies in like November, where it's like a little cool at night. Um, so we're and me and Sean decided like let's never film anything in the summertime again. We could prepare other things and
You're talking our language.
work. Yeah, work indoors. Like yeah,
We are.
yeah.
This
No outdoor playing dead in the
No,
summertime, right?
nah. Well, we have, but
But it sucks.
never been fun to,
No.
sweat while you're playing outside.
By the way, I love Falling Apart, and you can't say no. I love these new tracks. So,
Oh, awesome. Well,
and yes, I will try and squeeze some Playing Dead into Loose Ends Victim No More Part 2 if I can. So,
we come at a very small price,
this
the budget will increase by probably $0.
is why we have to reach 50,000 so I can give you guys 25, it's a half of it, half the
I'm
budget.
like, oh wow, somebody likes the song. Okay, cool. You could do
Yeah,
that, sure.
that's it.
Uh yeah, man. So we appreciate you. It's fun to
Yeah, man.
hear. It's fun to hear no apologies in the first one. And
Yeah, and any, of the merch that you guys want, t-shirts, I know Sam, I gave you a beanie and Blu-ray, I think.
yeah, for sure. I
Um
loved it. Yeah.
But any of the band members, if you want anything, just
Okay, yeah. I'll mention it for sure.
just mention it, and when I see you guys, I'll just give them to you.
Probably
So,
our drummer. Our drummer likes stuff. Everyone else is like,
right.
they're not real horror guys or
I remember
girls.
your ex drummer, like part 5,
Steve. Oh,
Steve. Yeah,
Steve. Yeah, Steve.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A New Beginning is his favorite like movie of all time or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I've grown to appreciate. Yo, so like this time around, I know we're a little bit over, but I just want to say I really appreciated part 3 this year.
Okay.
It was my least favorite, when I would watch them. And this year, 2 dragged a little bit for me. 3 felt nice, and 4 always hits. And 5 is just so fucking stupid, but it's so good because
Yeah.
it's just like it just doesn't even make sense. Like with the fucking like greasers, it just get like it's like
No, the
we need
random characters that show up to get killed, right?
we need 2 greasers in this scene that are gonna get it.
It's
Rat tattooey, a rat tattooey. I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. Come on,
it's
Vinny.
it's so bizarre. It's there's so much in that movie
Huh.
that first off, I think it's the funniest one because of just all the
Mm.
random
Yeah,
characters that are in it. But like the hillbillies, I mean, like this stuff takes
yeah.
place in New Jersey, right? Like
And they're the same
what's up,
age
what's
too,
up with
which
the
is so funny.
hillbillies?
Yeah,
I got a bomb on me. Um,
yeah. You tell him, Ma.
you tell them all.
Actually, he
Don't
looks.
dildo.
I think if we actually looked at their ages while they filmed, I feel like he might be older than the mom. Like
Probably,
yeah,
or at
and
least around the same age.
and the guy that Lana was like banging, I
Yeah,
was like,
the paramedic guy,
I
the
was like, there's
ambulance
no
guy.
no way in hell he's banging this hot girl.
Yeah,
No
well,
way.
they're all on coke, so
Nah, still, I don't think Coke is
still.
saving. Yeah, definitely. And they're
But
playing that music.
yeah, I mean, I think the part 5 holds. I think there's like 26 deaths in it or something like that. It's something ridiculous because people are just introduced and killed off. I like what I really like about part 5 is the who done it aspect of it, where
I
they
I love
they
that.
introduce so many characters that you're kind of like, like, all right, because for like half the movie you might think like, all right, Tommy is snapped, maybe he's the killer. If you're first time watching it. Uh but then there's like the weird random hillbilly guy that comes
Yeah, well,
that's creepy.
but
It's like,
he
oh,
was
he could be
there.
the killer.
He,
You know.
he
But
could
then
be
he's
the
killed
killer,
like
but he
3 scenes
died.
later.
Yo, he fucking yeah. So that dude was hilarious. He was just like, yeah, he just like pops up, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Because at 7, I wasn't understanding red herrings for sure. I was just
Right,
like,
right.
that's the killer. Yeah, that dude popped up, and literally like 2 minutes later, he was dead.
Yeah, and it's just like, what was the purpose of him then? Like, he should have been setting up like have him disappear for a little while.
He wanted to earn a meal. That's about
He
it.
wanted to clean all the chicken shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool, man.
but yeah, I like and I like the reveal of Roy, being the killer and stuff. It's just weird. It's just a weird movie.
It aged for me. Like now I get it. Now it's like,
It's sleazy too.
yeah, I listen. We're big on sleaze over here.
Oh
So
yeah.
um because we like Maxine, right? Didn't
Oh,
you
I
say
love Maxine.
so? Maxine was your favorite of the three too, right?
Pearl was, but I do love Maxine.
Okay, yeah, I loved Maxine. I thought it was, and I love Pearl too.
Yeah.
I love that it
Yeah.
finally hit Netflix because I feel like people will watch it some more. But
Yeah.
what I
Batting
mentioned,
average, why that's as good as that's going to be taught. That trilogy, one of the best in horror history.
well,
I think.
Yeah.
what I
Yeah,
mentioned is everyone has a different order.
right.
Like there is no like like everyone's just like, oh, I love X, or I love Pearl, or I love
Hmm.
Maxine, and it's like there's so many different like variations of that top three, but I think all three of them are very, very good.
I think for me it's Pearl, Maxine, X, but I think maybe over time, because I again kind of like in a violent nature, it's like, oh, I really enjoyed that, and then you start thinking about it a lot, and then you want to watch it again, and you're
Yeah,
like, I'm just like, oh man, I want to watch Maxine again. Like maybe over time, Maxine will be my favorite, but
it was just the universe. The universe was like, like satanic panic, video stores,
yeah, yeah,
80s like porn. You're just like, okay, this universe is like super cool, compared to like the, you know, fucking I want to say Alice in Wonderland. The
yeah.
what is that Judy Garland movie that I can't remember with the witch?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of
That's
Oz.
yeah, it was like a Wizard of Oz, like fucking like bizarro John Waters directed Wizard of Oz
Oh my god.
movie that Pearl
I would love
was.
that actually. John Waters, Wizard of Oz.
And X was great. X started off. I went to go see X and had zero expectation when I
It
sat
was
in the
cool.
theater, and I was like, "This is pretty fucking good."
Are the Angel, because Maxine makes you think of the movie Angel.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
are the Angel sequels on Tubi? I don't think I ever tried to look them up.
yeah, yeah. They're there, and so
Avenging Angel and Angel 3 and
all of them. But I think they might also be on Shutter because Joe Bob just did an episode of Angel.
hmm.
He did that when he had that wasn't that might be gone already off of there
No,
because
oh, you're
they
right.
don't hold the rights very long. And that was the one when they had David Gordon Green and the
Do
balloon
they have
house guy.
Exterminator 2
So
on
Wow.
Tubi has Angel, and so does Pluto. Yo, Exterminator 2, I fucking love it. I really can't even fucking sit through Exterminator 1, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's the 2 is definitely the better.
It's why it's just not good. I don't know. I tried watching, but Exterminator 2 also on Tubi has everything for fucking like lunatics like us that just pull out Exterminator 2 DVDs for no reason.
You want to see an earlier Trish Jarvis, Kimberly Beck classic Massacre at Central High. This is
Wow.
a
Oh,
crazy
that's a
movie
good one.
from 1976.
That's a rare one.
Came in a sweet steel book too.
What do you think?
She has never seen this movie, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, it's funny. She stars in it, but has never seen it because there's like a nude scene and there's a story behind that, and she's embarrassed. And
What do you think like one of her underrated movies is?
um, hmm. Besides the final chapter, that's not underrated though. Of Kimberly Beck.
No, Catherine Mary Stewart.
Oh, Catherine Mary Stewart. Oh man. Mischief is good. It's like an 80s like comedy that takes place
I
in the
remember, yeah.
50s. I can't say Night of the Comet or Last Starfighter or Weekend on Burn because those are pretty successful in my book.
I think Mischief's a good one because I feel like that one slipped through the cracks a little bit, but I remember it.
I'm trying to think like what is there's definitely movies that I think underrated performance that like maybe of some movies that nobody's ever seen that I've seen that I'm just like, oh my God, you're really good in that.
Yeah, so
Uh,
Mischief is not streaming anywhere.
yeah. Victim No More 2, Loose Ends. That'll be
That'll be it right there.
underrated performance. Uh,
Uh yeah, but okay, so I just looked up Mischief, the full movie
Is that
streaming on YouTube.
yeah. Oh my
is
God. Oh my
Anthony
God.
Edwards in
Actually,
that?
here's a movie that
Yeah,
I
I'll
know
text it
you.
to you.
Here's a movie I know you haven't seen. Catherine Mary Stewart's the star of it. It's called Scenes from the Gold Mine.
Okay.
Um, and it's like one of these like rock and roll story. Like she falls in love with this guitarist that's in this band. She joins the band. She's the keyboardist, and it's like one of these like like Eddie and the Cruisers type.
I love that stuff.
Right. I know you guys do because you're in a band, but like the drama that happens and her boyfriend tries to steal her music and
I'm reading it
it,
now.
it's a drama and it's really good, but she gives a really good performance. I don't know where you could
Alex
find it.
Rocco.
Alex Rocco
Nice.
is the dad.
I have it right here. The
And
full movie streaming on YouTube.
oh, okay, awesome. Directed by Mark Rocco, the son of Alex Rocco, who also did Dream a Little Dream. So
Oh,
it has that kind of
I didn't.
vibe to it, like
I
almost
didn't.
like a music video vibe, where like there's a lot of music being played through it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Scenes from the Gold Mine. It's never been released. It was released on VHS.
I remember Alex Rocco because he played Joe from Facts of Life's dad,
Dad,
who was
yes,
always in prison.
He's Mo Green too, right?
Mo
he's Mo
Green, yeah,
Green.
he's Mo
Also,
Green.
yeah.
All right, Bobby, I sent you that
I just heard my
movie.
phone go.
Yeah, and then Langan, I sent you those two. So, all right, we
Okay.
could talk all day, but I got shit I
Well,
gotta
one
do.
last thing. You mentioned Facts of Life.
Yep. Oh, of course.
Well, you know how I connect. I mean, this is for like Facts of Life fans, which I'm a big Facts of Life fan.
Joanna Marie
Yep.
Polnicek is when we did what our favorite celebrity crushes, like I picked like
Oh yeah.
I picked my childhood crushes, and Joanna Marie Polnicek was in there, top 10.
Oh, absolutely. I am right there with you. I love Joe. But I don't know if you guys, because I know you watched Victim No More a few times. Did you realize that not the main guy, but the couple, the girlfriend calls him Mr. Polnicek? It's like, oh,
No.
yes,
Wow.
it's there. So
That's funny.
the characters of Katie and Dylan, the couple that are in Victim No More, their last names are Polnicek and Warner.
Get the fuck out of here.
So
Wow.
it's a Facts of Life reference, but it's also like, what if this is Blair and Joe's kids that eventually like hooked up and became a
Yeah.
couple?
Well, there goes
So-
part 3. Part 3 is cooking.
There will be a revelation in Loose Ends Victim No More 2 where you might get a little bit more of that.
I can't even
Like
wrap
Facts of
my
Life.
head. I can't even wrap my head around just how completely insane that
It makes no sense. But you know what? When you're dealing with fan films, it's like you could just have as much fun as you want. So it's
Yeah.
like that's why Jill Whitlow is in there as like Dr. Cynthia Romero, because it's like, she's just being the same character from Night of the Creeps.
Sure.
Because in Night of the Creeps, she's a psych major. The boyfriend says that
Yeah.
at one point. It's like, maybe she became a therapist.
I love that.
She married Jason Lively, got the last name Romero, and now she's in, Victim No More. It's a Night of the Creeps, crossover.
And her sister-in-law is in the Teen Witch.
Yes, exactly.
Top that.
So yeah,
we can't.
I love that crossing universes kind of thing. So, Facts of Life, what the hell? Like, yeah, sure. And I love Police Academy, so there's Police Academy references.
I'm not even gonna dig through that because we'll be here for another 90 minutes. So
well, wait. Can I spoil one last thing for you guys?
Yeah.
And I'm only gonna do it on this show.
Yeah.
So it makes it special.
Right.
All right. Give me
Jason
one.
dies.
Give me 1 sec.
Oh man. When do I tell him that it's only audio and not video with that picture in the back? Nah, he knows. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So, Sam, I know you love Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
I do.
Of course.
You like it too? Okay.
Of course.
All right. There will be a character in the movie. I'm not saying what their backstory is or anything like that. But there will be a character in the movie that may or may not be a killer that will be wearing
Wow.
Tackleberry's hockey mask from Police Academy 4.
Fools. They think
Wow.
they could kill the brother of Badula.
Yes, exactly.
Yama yama
Yummy,
yama
yummy, yummy,
yama.
yum.
Yummy. Oh, it's
All
so
right,
good. I
so
love it.
I thought it'd be hilarious that James Taffarelli painted that up for me and everything. So the guy can wear the mask, and I'm like, oh my god, could this be the same mask Tackleberry had in Police Academy 4?
And I love, so that was
Nice.
crossover with that, and then part 5 they had Jaws, because I just
Yeah.
posted that picture.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because that was
You're
80.
right. That's a great summer movie.
Yeah.
Assignment Miami Beach.
Oh, I really do. I fucking love. That's a terrible movie that I can watch all the time. I miss Gutenberg, but like the fucking main character, the villain from Benson,
Yeah.
he
Which
just
I've been
like
watching recently.
really
I'm
Oh
on
yeah.
season 6 now of Benson.
the henchmen were just so fucking funny, man. He was just
Yeah.
like
Watch the hair. Watch the hair.
I always quote this. This is what I always quote. And no one gets. It's like we're dead. We're dead. We're 3 dead men. We're dead. No,
I
no one
definitely
should
get it.
get it. But that's good. So all right.
For me, Harrison Proctor like saves the next 2 movies after Gutenberg leaves. So I love Proctor and Harris. I just
yeah,
when he's picking up women in Assignment Miami Beach, and
it's
I just love that whole part.
I'll
Just
go
spits
to
the cigar thing, hits him in the neck with it.
I'll go to bat for the first 5. I'll go to
Yeah.
bat. Those are just really fucking funny movies. 6 and 7 are almost you know, 6 is fine. 7 makes
Yeah.
6 look like The Godfather.
Exactly. I completely agree. It should have stopped in 1989, Police Academy 6,
Yeah,
kept it in the 80s, and
Yeah.
ended it there. Absolutely.
you know, definitely no need to go to Moscow. But all right, yo, this was fun.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for having me
Bobby.
again.
Yeah,
I love
anytime.
doing this. Anytime? All right. See you next week. All right.
All right,
Yeah.
later, guys.
All right. Take care.